Loser point. Hey, look, it's a night where the Utah Mammoth come away with a loser point, and they should feel lucky. They should feel lucky that they got it. So this should have been a loss. Other night should have been a win. 2 points out of the back-to-back. Hey, one win, one loss, right? In reality, 2 losses, 2 loser points. So here we are, following another heartbreaking. Honestly, Utah did not look very good for the first and second period. They weren't doing a lot to really put, a real scare into the San Jose Sharks. It certainly was not, in my mind, one of those games where you're like, well, geez, the goalie. I mean, the goalie is really putting on quite a nice performance right now. And that is why things are going okay for the Sharks. Askarov was good. He was fine. He did what was reasonable given the chances that were, created against him. But ultimately, Peterka did a great job. We're going to talk about his 2 goals and why and how it's related to what we talked about last night. And for the game, honestly, just the quick takeaway is like on the macro, you had a back-to-back. You expect to lose the second game of a back-to-back. They played good against Anaheim, good enough to win. They ended up finding a way to lose that game, but they got a loser point from it. They get a loser point tonight, kind of out of nowhere. And so, a kind of a leaky goal by Askarov, frankly, on the rush. And here they are, 2 points in 2 games through the back-to-back. They have a day off tomorrow, and then they'll be on again on Thursday. So we'll see how everything turns out then. But for now, you take a look at a game like that and the opportunity that they had to potentially come away with a win out of nothing, and then it all evaporates because too many men in the ice. I mean, it's fundamentals. It's making decisions as a group that make sure that you're not putting yourselves in a position to come away with the loser point. That 4-on-3 in the overtime, that's just brutal. It's hard to get the puck anyway in 3-on-3. It's really hard to do much of anything on the 4-on-3. There's just such skill, such a great amount of ice to deal with. All right, after the buzzer here on Hive State Hockey, we appreciate you tuning in with us. We got a few people here. My guy Car Wash still chilling with us, checking us out. If you ever want to just vibe out some cool car wash point of views going through the tunnel, that is the channel for you. You can go check him out. And he loves himself a little hockey. So we always appreciate seeing him around here. If this is your first time with us at Hive State Hockey on After the Buzzer, my name is Keith Schertz. Such a pleasure to have you here. Hello, friend. Thank you for coming along. Hope you enjoy your stay. And if you are like Car Wash and it is not your first time here, but you've made your way back here to check out what we're talking about, I congratulate you on your exceedingly fine taste. We run things here at Hive State Hockey. We are trying to get back in the groove of things, and really, really frustrated that we have to talk about a couple of loser points, right? That is not the spot that we want to be in, but here we are. It's better than nothing. It's one of those, it's better than nothing. So, hey, how mad do we really want to get? It's better than nothing. So, 1 point is better than 0 points. They should have had 2 yesterday. Should have maybe come away. I mean, they did come away with 1 tonight. So, potential to have 3 instead of the 2. But back-to-back, you expect to lose the second game. Pulling a loser point out in the second game of a back-to-back, especially road back-to-backs, that actually, as you step back, that is like mission accomplished. Like coming away with any points on the second game of back-to-back, even against the Sharks, who've made a significant step forward this season. I think you can just say that is a win from a schedule standpoint. They were able to come away with a point, second game of the back-to-back. That is, mission accomplished. Front end, obviously, we're still frustrated about the Anaheim game, but those are the breaks, I guess. So that's the main thing that we'll say there. Listen, the first 40 minutes were pretty miserable, weren't they? I mean, Utah just did not look like they had any guile in their attack. It didn't seem like they had anything that seemed to be meaningful in the way that they were going at the net and what they were trying to accomplish. I wasn't a fan of a whole lot of what was going on there. They had opportunities on the power play tonight, 0 for 2. It looked, listless. They're not winning draws on the power play the way they need to. Yeah, it's real frustrating. It is real frustrating. On the good side, the interesting thing to kind of note here, and hey, all right, Hell Tracks. Sorry, my let me get that over so it's more in front of me. Hell Tracks, here we go. This team needs to wake up. I'm really sick of the constant poor play. Goaltending's been horrific, and goal support hasn't been there. Really not happy with how this team's been playing. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is special teams, right? I just think that the biggest thing, in my opinion, is first of all, winning cures all of the feelings. So there's that, but they're not good on the power play. And given the amount of talent they have, they're just not good at the power play. But I think it stems from this, and I appreciate the comment. Really do. I think it's great. That frustration is totally good. Welcome here, and I understand that. I think I think the main thing that I'm frustrated with is the power play. But in general, the way you score on the power play tends to be via a set play, like a cycle, your system going together and working. And I don't feel like they have a very good system, or it's certainly not clicking in the way that it ought to be clicking. So, but yeah. I think that would be my main thing is that they don't seem to score on the cycle nearly as efficiently as they could score on the rush. And tonight, they pull out 2 goals on rush opportunities. They get through the neutral zone with speed. It was a really nice cross-ice pass that found its way to J.J. Peterka. Peterka was found by Kraus. Cooley did a nice job of working the puck up the ice over to the boards, and then Kraus, found the cross-ice pass through the neutral zone, not crossing across the blue line and then trying the quick pass, but through the neutral zone where if it gets knocked back or anything like that, it's not as punishing. You don't have to kind of reset everything. That pass through the neutral zone, Peterka gets it. He goes straight to the net. He goes underneath Askarov's glove. It was a great finish. It was a really great finish. It's great execution. The second goal by J.J. Peterka was sort of created out of nothing. There really wasn't a whole lot, especially when you look at where San Jose was situated. But Peterka made a really fantastic move to create a little space for himself. He attacks at the net, leaky goal. Goes through for Askarov. And I love seeing it. I love seeing them go to the net on the rush and take their chance and not worry about puck possession in that spot. J.J. Peterka, it just feels like he at least late in the game in the third period, down a goal, needing goals, wasn't as concerned about hold up, let's take possession of the puck and let's get into the cycle. I'm just telling you, Andre Tourigny, Torini, I say his last name so poorly. Tourigny. Andre Tourigny's he's obsessed with having this puck possession. He just loves having puck possession. And so what happens is it's just pass. But there isn't a lot towards the net. But good things happen when you can go to the net. If you shoot it hard at the net, you can get deflections. You can have just crazy, some puck luck that happens. Logan Cooley had a great opportunity where the puck was held in at the blue line, came to him, he made an awesome move. They showed the highlight over and over again of him making a great move to lose the defender, find himself in the slot, only to, instead of taking the shot at the net, to try a very fancy pass back to Clayton Keller, which he's unable to handle. It was just too much. It was too fancy. Like, simplify. Simplify. Go to the net. Now, they outshoot the Sharks 26-2, but the high danger scoring chances tonight were clearly in favor of San Jose. And frankly, the way San Jose scored was on the rush, except for the overtime goal. But Macklin Celebrini getting a little space, going hard to the net, putting a puck on and beating Vitek Vanacek. I mean, I think it's really simple. When you have young teams with speed and skill, the way that San Jose does, the way that Utah does, the way that Anaheim does, what we saw is that the team that best employed using the rush to their advantage came away with the win, even though they had less of the puck, even though they got less shots on net. They didn't worry as much about getting retrieval or creating opportunities in that circumstance. What they were more concerned with was trying to get through the neutral zone, try to create a scenario where the goalie is, looking at you one-on-one and taking the shot on. And that's exactly what happened. That's what they had to deal with tonight. That is how Utah got its 2 goals. One of them was a really soft goal. Thank you, Askarov, for misplaying it. The puck just trickled his way past him and into the net. JJ Peterka made a great play. He got a little space, put it on net. It was probably an easy save. That one just happened to go by him. And that's the point. That's the point. Sometimes it's just better to go at the net. Every time I see Clayton Keller skate into the zone and attack and go after it, I'm like, that is fantastic. He just almost never does it. He almost always holds up. And just imagine you're a goalie for a second. You got Clayton Keller and he's skating into the zone. And you have the D-man, and he's taking away the center, and they're almost shoulder to shoulder with each other, let's say. And if you're in that scenario, the last thing you want is Clayton Keller to rip off a shot skating towards the net. As the goalie, what you would prefer is what tends to happen, which is where he holds up, gets along the half boards, sends it back to the blue line, or holds up, carries the puck, waits for the defense to get set, waits for the next attacker to get in, and then make a pass down to Logan Cooley, maybe below the goal line. But now the defense is set. And then we're playing pass, and we're just trying to create an incredible one-timer that, is a very difficult pass to make. It's not the right sort of system for what the team has. What the team has is a lot of skill and a lot of speed. And if you've got a lot of skill and a lot of speed, skate fast. If I'm the goalie and I see Clayton Keller hold up and sit and start chopping at the puck and start looking for where he's going to go next, or if I see him turn and work it back up, or if I see him literally turn around and start skating back towards the blue line, I'm happy about that as the goalie. Every time. All of those scenarios. The worst thing for me as the goalie is to have him coming to the net. Skating in with speed, having an opportunity with how good his shot is, his ability to pick out a window and shoot at it. I just do not want him to be skating in the zone, be on his 3rd or 4th stride, and then take a shot at me. I'd much rather him hold up, start chopping at the puck, and then pass it back to the blue line. And why are we doing things that the goalie prefers as an attacking player? They're not that good in the cycle. They're just not that good in the cycle. They're not. It's why their power play is not good. It's why whenever they go empty net and they try to get a goal with an empty net at the end of the games, they're never able to get an empty net goal. This team has been in Utah for a year plus now. We're 20 games into year 2. Okay? They've played over 100 games. They have yet to get an extra attacker goal. It's never happened. When you go 6 men against 5, that is clearly 100% a scenario in which your system and your cycle offense has to find a way to generate a goal. And Utah's system does not generate goals. The one idea, generally speaking, tonight we saw a couple other opportunities where they tried a couple different things. But the one idea that has resulted in goals and that the team seems comfortable trying to get over and over again is to try to send a pass across the seam for a one-timer. So there's that. All right, goalkeeping. Let's talk about goalkeeping. It's an interesting one because their save percentage is not good. Like if you look at raw save percentage for the goalies for the Utah Mammoth on the season, it's quite bad. You know, Vanacek, anything underneath 90 is not a good number, right? 90 is like the average number. Once you start dipping beneath that, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. So Veggie is at 8.99 over his entire career. This season he's 8.83. Vitek Vanacek has a better career number. He's at .903, but they're both right at that 900. And this season he's at 8.73. So both of them are playing below average as it relates to their save percentage. But that doesn't tell the whole story as it relates to the goalies. There is, in my opinion, really great data which talks about expected goals. Now, some people start rolling their eyes as soon as you start talking about expected goals. Not me. I love data. I love math nerds. I love the thing that they're figuring out behind the scenes, and I love putting a bunch of science behind something as silly as sports. Okay? It excites me, and I love that it happens. Expected goals against these goalies and the difference between actual goals and expected goals against these guys. They are basically dead on with what the expected goals are and the actual goals, which means that anytime there's been a shot and it was expected to be scored and there was an opportunity for to score, that expected goal would go into the net. So we are not ahead of schedule. We are not behind schedule. We're not letting through goals that should have been saved. We're also not stopping shots that should have been goals, if that makes sense. They're doing exactly what would be expected based on the shots that are being fired at them from the different areas of the ice. That is what they're accomplishing as goalies right now. So they are doing absolutely average. So what does that tell me? If the expected goals and actual goals are equal to each other for our goalies, but their save percentages are low, 873, 883. That's the two goalkeepers. It's bottom 5 in the National Hockey League in terms of goalie tandems. Raw save percentage as a team, it's bottom 5 in the National Hockey League. But if you look at goals saved above expected, they're right in the middle. They're 15th. So what's the answer? What's going on? Well, in my opinion, this has everything to do with they're giving up too many good quality chances to other teams. And so their save percentage is a little bit lower, and part of why that is because these guys are looking at really tough shots, high danger chances that are being surrendered by the Utah Mammoth defensemen. And I think obviously that's a problem. It's something that they've got to slow down. I think they're facing too many of these high danger chances, and that's where this discrepancy is. If your raw save percentage is beneath your expected saves per expected goals, goals saved above expected, if that is equal, if that number is 0, essentially, and if you are looking at a bad save percentage, it means the quality of shots that you're surrendering is too high. It's too high. So, it's an interesting stretch. But I want to get back to just being philosophical for a second. 2 points, 2 games. On a back-to-back on the road, to come away with 2 points in those 2 games, I think that would be considered in the aggregate, in the war of attrition of the regular season. I think you consider that ultimately a successful beginning of the road trip. Now, obviously, it could have been better. Obviously, this had the potential to be 4 points. It also should have very real. We were 4 seconds away from it being a 3-point. And now for it to turn into just 2 points, of course, it was very close to being 1 point. So of those, I guess, scenarios, 4, 3, 2, 1, they got the third worst of it. And that's why it kind of stinks. But on the aggregate, on a back-to-back, having played last night in Anaheim, made their way up to San Jose, back-to-back scenario, for them to end up with 2 points, ultimately, relatively successful. Now, really hard now. They got to come home. It'll be third game in 4 nights, and they are taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. And in these scenarios where they're playing 3 games in 4 nights, that's also a very difficult spot. Also, incredibly hard for your team to get points in a third game in 4 nights. But with where the hockey standings are, and it's probably a little early, but, you're currently out of the playoffs. Vegas is in. If you want to get in the playoffs, you got to knock them out. So it becomes a really important game here, because now, the Mammoth have 23 points in their first 20 games. If they hold on to that, they're on their path to get to 92, 93, 94 points. They're going to be right around there. And if things turn out like last season, 94 points doesn't make the playoffs. You needed 96. So they're right on track to kind of finish in 9th or 10th in the Western Conference, which is exactly the track that they were on last year. So I don't know how to get a ton better. I don't know how to get a ton better as things currently stand. The players have to improve. They're not going to make a change in their systems or in their coaching staff. They can't really make a trade. The players they could potentially trade, who it might make sense to trade for this team, are Nick Schmaltz. He's on an expiring deal. I'm not totally sure that that's a player that you want to go out and commit $8-9 million to. He's good, but I don't know that I'm ready to commit $8-9 million to Nick Schmaltz. Are you? because I think he's going to get 8.5. I think he's going to get something like that. 29. This is his last big contract. He's hitting his prime. Next 3 years will be seen as the big years. He's a UFA. He can go anywhere. You're gonna have to outbid some other people. Yeah. I think that's gonna end up at 8.5, maybe even 9. You could potentially trade Lawson Krause. He is 2 years away from expiring, but sometimes that's okay. People will look at that. Alex Kerfoot. Obviously, no one wants to trade for him at this point. He's hurt, not showing anything. People want to see what he is after. Kevin Stenlin, he's expiring. Carcone, Yamamoto, Ian Cole, Valimaki. Nobody is going to want to trade for Valimaki. Nobody wanted to pick him up when he went on waivers. So what are the odds that they're going to try to pick him up in that scenario? And then lastly, you've got Nick DeSimone. I don't believe anybody's interested in Nick DeSimone. So, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. What do you do? I don't know that they have any good trade chips at this point other than Nick Schmaltz. But if you trade Nick Schmaltz, you're sort of deciding that you'd like to try Daniel Boot. It also means that I think your return on Nick Schmaltz probably gets you a couple picks. It is a step backwards move. So I think it's very, very unlikely. Barrett Hayton as well, you could potentially trade. He's a restricted free agent at the end of the year. I don't like that one, though. That being said, if you just like hockey and you want what's best for hockey, Barrett Hayton on another team as a third liner whose job is to go in and grind, I really like Barrett Hayton as a third liner. I think he's an awesome third liner. I think he's a good second liner and he's an okay first line. I certainly don't think Barrett Hayton fits the play style that Andre Torini likes to play. So I don't know how to get better. I don't see anybody wanting maybe Kevin Stenlin, maybe. But I think genuinely it's you'd have to decide Nick Schmaltz, but that's sort of punting on the thing of making the playoffs this year. So okay. Hey, look, I think we've hit the main things. They fall. Actually, there's one other thing. How terrific is Macklin Celebrini? He's terrific. Fantastic player. The skill, the wrister from 35 feet out on the power play that just whistled past the ear of Vanacek and into the top of the net. That was fantastic. He walked it along on the outside. That last goal was just such a great shot. Walked it along, used the Utah defenseman who was tired. They're playing the 4-on-3D. Walked it along, walked right past, and then whistled it by him. And then put it right past the air. I mean, the shot, the skill, the using the defenseman as a screen. He took away the eyes of Vanacek, and that's why he was able to score from so far out. Goalies typically save things they can see. He definitely did not see that one. So there's that. So really, really, really a huge props to Macklin Celebrini. Incredible finishes by him. And, I mean, what a terrific player. I mean, just as a hockey fan, it's hard not to enjoy watching Macklin Celebrini play hockey. I kind of get the feeling he's going to be a thorn in our sides whenever we play San Jose, though, for the next 15 years. And I'm not excited about that. But you have to admire what Macklin Celebrini is on that ice sheet. Fantastic. The other thing too is it's just brain dead stuff. I I didn't harp on it much, but just as a quick thing, like it really stinks to lose. Really stinks to lose in overtime because you gave up a penalty. But if it's 3-on-3 and things happen, you gotta slash. You gotta, you're trying to get the puck, and maybe you get you get your stick into someone's skate and they trip, or something like that. You can live with that. Too many men on the ice. It's boneheaded stuff, man. It's boneheaded stuff. Utah could be at 25 points. If they were at 25 points, they're definitely in the playoffs. They're sitting in third place in the Central as things currently stand. They've got 23 points instead. It's boneheaded stuff. So it's really, really, really disappointing on that front. Okay. If you've enjoyed tonight's stream, give us the old thumbs up. Appreciate the like on the stream. I really appreciate that. And Car Wash, you're right. There's lots of season left. There is not all lost. And again, like I tried to say, you got 2 points out of your back-to-back on the road. They're coming home. Third game in 4 nights. Tough scenario. Vegas, good physical team. Always a good challenge when you play the Golden Knights. So be interesting to see what happens for the Utah Mammoth against Vegas on Thursday night. But all things considered, it's frustrating because you feel like there's a chance for 4 points. Certainly feel like you should have had 3. You end up with 2. And if you're being philosophical, you gotta feel like it's okay. It's all right. That it didn't exactly go the way of the Mammoth. But lost opportunity. And every point is so precious to this team. So, on that. Also, shout out to Susan B. Anthony. We'll finish with this. Susan B. Anthony, she was arrested for trying to vote in, what year was that? 1872. So on this day in 1872, she was arrested for trying to vote. And, we love ourselves at Ohio State Hockey. We love ourselves some troublemakers. We like our Jack McBains. We like it when Logan Cooley gets under their skin. And we needed a little bit more of that. We needed a little bit more Susan B. Anthony energy. That's what we needed. So we'll leave you with that. Appreciate you for hanging out tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you've subscribed to the channel. And we will see you on Thursday night when they play the Vegas Golden Knights. Take care of yourselves. Stay out of trouble. And we'll see you next time.